All right, here we go. Here we go. Let's get this music down a little. Let me get myself focused a little better in there. Give me a second. Hold on. All right, there we go. Better. All right. All right, let's jump in. What's going on, y'all? Good to see everybody. Let me get this music down just a little more. Make sure it's not too distracting. It does provide nice little ambiance, nice little background to us. All right, listen. Welcome in to Tuesday nights where we have decants, samples, and fragrance talk. My name is Kevin. This is SmellGoodz. Appreciate you coming through. My scent of the day, just to drop that really quick, my scent of the day today was Yeoman Lail's Limitless. That was what I wore. I'm really feeling that, really digging that. That was my scent of the day. My scent of the evening, something I am checking out, spend a little more time with. And this is, I got to give a shout out to my guy, Joel, in the chat. I see him already dropped his scent of the day. But this is something I saw him and Dedrick talking about, and I'm feeling it. But this is, as far as my scent of the evening, we're rocking Molinard Gingembre. It's a little hard to see, it's all glass, but this right here, gotta spend a little more time with it, but it's a nice ginger type fragrance that I'm really feeling, really digging. So shout out to Joel for, again, always putting us on to some of the crazy stuff, but some of the good stuff. All right. Let's jump into the chat, see what we got going on, see who's already here. Joel, scent of the day, Low Paula's Ibiza. Very good, very good. Thomas, what's good, everyone? Good to see you, Thomas. Appreciate you coming through. Thomas is rocking that LV afternoon swim. We're gonna talk about LV today. We're gonna talk about, today's gonna be a little different. We're gonna definitely do some conversation as far as fragrances, but I'm a little triggered right now. I'm a little triggered. So we're gonna talk. All right. Good deal. Ricky, good to see you, my guy. Scent of the day, Latafa Kanjar, which is inspired by Ganymede without the metallic note. Okay. I've got the Emir Celestial, which still has some of that metallic note. Well, interesting. Good deal. Salute. Yes. Everybody saying that intro. Listen, that's my AI, man. I'm really starting to dig into AI. I actually have a training that I'm doing for pastors, entrepreneurs, leaders, what have you, this Saturday. So I'm really feeling AI and learning how to use it. So excellent. Yes, sir. Digging the animation. Awesome. The Gingembre is awesome. Yes, I'm feeling it. I've only worn it a couple of times so far. This is wearing it again tonight. I made a video on it just to kind of introduce it. Again, as I'm trying to get people kind of, I'm still in the clone space. I'm not bad in the clone space. But I wanna kind of, as I'm spreading my wings, as I am branching out from Latafa, Armaf, Afnan, and so on. I want to share that with the community. All right, good deal. Tom is wearing scent of the evening is Perry Ellis 360 white. Excellent. Tom is asking, what AI am I using? Will I be online for the workshop? It is a paid workshop that is going to be this Saturday. You can go to kevincrawley.com and go to events, and you can see it there. For that animation, that was Veil, but I use primarily ChatGPT with Veil. I do also break into Gemini, and sometimes I use Claude, Perplexity, but my primary tool right now is ChatGPT for a lot of different things, and then I play around with Veil just to kind of figure it out and see what I can do with it. All right, good deal. All right, so got a couple of things that just we'll start. Y'all tell me where y'all want to start. Do y'all want to start with where I'm triggered as far as the conversation, or do y'all want to see some sense right now? Right, I got a few things that are still left from my pack that I had from Lone Star Decants, and I got a couple of things from, I think, from Venba that I got as far as some samples, right? Whiskey Reaper comes in and says decants and samples are a waste of money. If you say so, that's your choice. Says go to the store and try them out. Here's the problem. For a lot of people in a lot of areas, they don't have the full selection that you might find online as far as decants and samples, right? If you wanted to sample, let's say, if I can just say Mancera, you're not going to be able to find that in a lot of stores, especially if you don't live in a major city, right? I live in Phoenix, and yes, I can go over to Scottsdale and I can smell Louis Vuitton. I can go smell a variety of things, but there's some stuff that I won't be able to smell, right? For example, Argos. I don't have any place in the Phoenix metro area that I can go and smell Argos. So yes, I'm going to buy decants. I'm going to buy samples. I hear what you're saying as far as that's your opinion as far as being a waste of money, but it beats blind buying. And again, you can't go to stores and smell everything. That's just facts. All right. Chatbot renews next month using DeepSeek a little more. Yeah, good deal. Get triggered out the way and end on a high note. Okay, we can definitely do that. Tom says he's triggered by Bleu de Chanel exclusive. All right. Yeah, it's kind of what we're talking about. All right. And then Tom says, yep, stores are an hour and a half away from home. Do decants and samples as well. Yep. $40 to $100 fragrance. Mancera, just blind buy them. Why buy a sample? Okay. You know, all right. Listen, I'm going to just say, all right, cool. Say what you will. That's how you want to do it. That's how you do it. I'm going to sample. I'm going to figure out if I like it. And again, the sample, I can wear it, especially with what I've got in my collection. If I want to wear it, I'll wear it. If I want a full bottle, I'll get a full bottle. But for oftentimes a 5 ml or a 10 ml is going to do me solid for a little while, right? If I can be honest, Yeoman Ale, yes. And Yeoman Ale is not expensive. Not trying to make that distinction. But at the end of the day, I've got a bunch of Yeoman Ale travel sprays that'll last me for a while. All right, that's enough. All right, let's jump into it. Let's kind of have the conversation. So Tom kind of hit on the start of the conversation, which was triggered by Bleu de Chanel exclusive. First of all, let me tell you all about my experience going to Macy's to smell Bleu de Chanel exclusive. So last Tuesday we did the live. I did the unboxing of stuff that I gotten from Yeoman Ale. And on Wednesday, my wife went to get her hair done, and because of where we live versus where she goes to get her hair done, over on that side of town, not too far from where she gets her hair done, there's a Macy's, there's a Dillard's. If I need to, I can jump up to Scottsdale, put my nose in the Saks, Nordstrom's, all of those fun places to really smell what I want to smell. So I was like, listen, let's go. I know between the Dillard's or the Macy's, one of them is going to have the Bleu de Chanel exclusive. I can put my nose on it, see if I'm even want to entertain the thought of $275 for a bottle. Okay. So I get there. I first go to the Dillard's because me personally, I like the Dillard's that's there. The folks that are there are really good. The folks that are there, you know, are generous with, you know, at least spray samples. I've gotten a few samples of Creed just from them. In fact, that Dillard's sent me the new one, the Oud Zarian, which I'll have a video coming out about that probably tomorrow, right? So I first went to Dillard's just because they're pretty good with it, right? They're a good place to hang out, good place to check out the fragrances, and they do me right. They didn't have it. Cool, right? So I went over to Macy's, get into Macy's, and you know, I'm looking around because I needed to find the Chanel section, get the Chanel section. And the lady, there's two ladies actually standing right there. One's behind the counter. The other one, she may have been a rep, but she was standing kind of in front of the counter. So I'm like, cool. I'm looking for, do you have the new one? The new what? The new Bleu de Chanel. And so she goes digging under and she finds it. She grabs it. She brings it out. She puts it on the counter. Now, as she's doing that, the other lady who is in front of the counter is asking me, she's like, oh, have you smelled the new Gucci Intense Oud or whatever it was? I was like, no, I didn't come for that. I asked about the Bleu de Chanel. Oh, it smells really good. So here's the problem, and this is why I don't like necessarily doing retail, is because if I'm coming specifically to say, I know you have something new, I want to check out that something new, don't come to me with something that I didn't ask for. Now, if I come in and ask, what do you all have that smells good? That's your opportunity to show me a lot of different things that you think I might like, or I might be interested in. But if I'm asking specifically for the new Bleu de Chanel, I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm looking for. Don't come bringing me Gucci. It may have smelled great. I was just done by the fact that you gonna offer me something opposite of what I'm asking for. So anyway, long story short, she gives me, she sprays the Bleu de Chanel exclusive while the other lady is spraying Gucci. And first of all, she just sprays it and kind of sets the bottle down and then hands me the tester strip. And that's it. She goes back to her phone. So here's the thing. Even if I were interested, and no, I wasn't planning on buying it. No, I wasn't going to, pull out card and purchase it. But at the end of the day, at least act like you want my business. At least act like you think that I might want to purchase it. At least do that, right? Needless to say, for me, Bleu de Chanel exclusive is good. I'm not going to disparage it. Not going to go against it or anything of that nature. For me, it just is. It doesn't do anything groundbreaking. At least on the initial spray, I didn't even spray it on my hand or on my wrist, just because I was like, I'm not even going to give you all the satisfaction of acting like I want to, or give you the excitement. So on the opening spray, I do smell a little difference between it and the parfum, but to me, it's a little too redundant of the parfum for me to even really be like, oh, I may want to get that at some time. So that's just my take on Bleu de Chanel. Now, as to the reason that I am a little triggered, right? I'm in a chat with a few other content creators, and we were kind of talking about this. And so I was like, at first I was like, okay, it's the same thing over and over again, right? Which is, what's his name? Justin, who, respect him. He's an OG as far as, especially compared to me in this space, does lots of great stuff as far as fragrance and, reviews and commentary and all that fun stuff. But he released a video yesterday or day before, somewhere recently, talking about clones and why he doesn't talk about clones or dupes on his channel. Cool. I am a firm believer in speak to your audience, right? Speak to the folks that are watching, right? I am graced to have a good number of you all that, one, appreciate the clones, but are also appreciative of the designers and the niche. You're like me on your fragrance journey. You kind of, what does it does it smell good, right? I think for many of us, we recognize the difference, yes, between, let's say, the difference sometimes in quality. I get that. So I'm fine with him speaking to his audience, but as he was talking and as I really began to think about it and really just kind of consider it, I was like, let's look at this from a business perspective, because what he did was he talked about the number of fragrances that, let's say, Chanel released over the course of the last year, the number of fragrances that Guerlain released over the past year, the number of fragrances that a few different other, either niche or designer brands released over the last year. And yes, we're talking, 1 to maybe 5 maximum. Then he compared that with Lattafa, he compared that with Dua, he compared that to some of the other places that, primarily specialize or primarily do have inspired take brands. And yes, there is, Lattafa released a bunch last year. They're releasing a bunch this year. Hawass recently, or at least announced like 30 last week, right? So I get his point in some respects, but let's talk business. All right. Because when we think about what's happening with the with fragrances and with this whole thing, there is 2 approaches to business. There's several different approaches to business as far as how any business operates. And for whatever reason, we in fragrance community, think that there's only one way to do business and everything else is wrong. All right. Let me pause. I'm going to just kind of jump into the chat, kind of see what we all are talking about. But I'm going to jump back into this and really kind of help break down, in my opinion, or at least in my thoughts, in my viewpoint, help break down some of this to see what we're really talking about. All right, let's jump into it really quick. Ricky, my time is more valuable than money. I'm a Decant fan. I get you, Ricky. Yep, absolutely. Let's kind of jump around. Appreciate, yes, Joe. Make sure they hit them likes, hit them thumbs ups. That one will help the channel. It'll help other folks come in and join this conversation with us. All right. Thomas asks, do I own any bottles of Mind Games fragrances? Nope, I don't. Not at this point. And I've got enough right now of Yaman Leo's takes on stuff that's doing me justice. All right. Notice a lot of behind the counter folks don't like informed customers. They act like we're a threat. And we kind of are. We kind of are, because they don't know what they're talking about in many respects. They just know this is what we're supposed to push this week. This is what we're supposed to put the emphasis on. Absolutely. It's good. Kevin in chat, sent to the day. Soul Cafe. Yes, sir. Yeah, I think I've got my travel spray right here of Soul Cafe. Do that. Yes, love that. Excellent smelling. Yes. As it pertains to Bleu de Chanel exclusive, you're not missing out on anything. If you have Bleu de Chanel EDP and Parfum, it's simply overpriced for a flanker. Agreed. Agreed. Okay. Jay kind of triggered yesterday. Sebastian triggered me also with his review of Bleu de Chanel exclusive. Yes. All right. Whiskey Reaper says Chanel is perfectly priced. All right, let's jump into that. Let's talk about that. They're perfectly priced for who, for what, and why. All right. When we understand and looking at this from a business aspect, right? Let's look at everything that would go into Chanel. Okay. We have to look at one, because really, in my opinion, a lot of what you're paying for has to do more with the brand and the brand perception. Okay. When you are paying for a $275 bottle of Chanel, what is factored into that is marketing. What is also factored into that is the research and development. What is also factored into that is the retail stores, the Chanel retail stores. It's also factored into that the shelf space that they have to pay for it to be on the shelves at Macy's, for it to be on the shelves at Dillard's, or wherever it has to be. They also have to pay, I think I mentioned marketing. They also, in part of that marketing, they're paying for whomever they are paying to be the face of that brand. Okay. So that $275, really a good portion, and I can't really go into the actual breakdown of the financials, simply because Chanel is a privately held company. They're a trust. And so therefore, they don't necessarily have to tell and give you the breakdown of how much they spend on marketing, how much they spend on this, how much they spend on that. And so therefore, if we just analyze, just think for a moment, what all goes into a bottle of Chanel. And now, if this is not just Chanel, any of your known designer or even niche fragrances, but particularly your designer fragrances, let's just stick with there for right now. What you're talking about is marketing. You're talking about research and development. Yes, you're talking about sourcing their materials, right? But you're also talking about employees. You're talking about all of those things that go into running a business. And so therefore, that $275, that doesn't necessarily, and also, let's just be honest, part of business is making profit. So that $275 does not necessarily mean that it's automatically better. It simply means that of all the things that that company has chosen to do, they have set that price point to help them turn a profit based upon what they've put into it, right? Now, could that profit be $125 and it's really only $150 for everything else? Could be. Could that profit really be, after they take care of everything, could that profit really only be $50? It's possible. We don't know. Okay. But when we're talking about the price point of your designer brands, you have to take into account all of the things that go into it, right? I was able to look at the financials for LVMH, right? You all know that LVMH owns, of course, Louis Vuitton and several other brands, including Kenzo. I forgot the other. I think Guerlain is part of them as well. They own a few different of the fragrance houses. What's interesting is that as high priced as Louis Vuitton is, it does not get a mention in the fragrance section of Louis Vuitton or LVMH's financials for the first part of this year. It doesn't get mentioned. They mentioned all of their other stuff as far as Guerlain, as far as Kenzo, what have you. It gets mentioned there, but it does not get mentioned. Louis Vuitton, the fragrance, we're talking Imagination, we're talking City on Stars and Ombre Nomad and all that fun stuff. None of that gets mentioned in their fragrance section. Louis Vuitton gets mentioned in their financials for the leather and their fashion goods. So what I'm saying is this, is that at the end of the day, what we're looking at when we're talking about the notoriety of your designer brands is you've got to take into account what is happening as far as the financials, what's happening as far as what goes into putting it on the shelf, right? We all can probably turn on the TV, and depending on what channel, you'll probably see a Chanel commercial at some point in your watching of TV. When's the last time you saw a Lattafa commercial? When's the last time you saw an Afnan commercial? So Afnan, Lattafa, Armaf, they don't really have to pay for advertising. They spend here's how they spend their advertising. They get folks on TikTok, really, and they put them on TikTok, and they say, I'll give you $1 if, for every however many views you get for getting this video out. Okay. So that's their marketing budget. Different marketing budget when we're talking about paying content creators versus paying to be on TV. Completely different. Lattafa doesn't have stores that you can walk into, at least here in the United States. They don't have stores that you can walk into that are branded Lattafa stores. Now they do have them, of course, in Dubai, in the Middle East, but you can't walk into a Lattafa store. So they're not paying for the overhead of a location. They're not paying for the retail space. They're not paying for the rental of property or anything of that nature. Now, do they have to pay, of course, to get on the shelf? Yes. That's why when you go to Burlington, you're paying maybe $5 more or $10 more to get it at Burlington than you would to pay, to get it through, let's say, FragranceNet or through Fragrance Buy or what have you. So understand that there is a difference in the business model. Clones have a different, or the Middle Eastern brands have a different business model than Chanel. They have a different business model than LVMH. They have a different business model than all of the designer brands. And we're getting upset and we're getting, triggered, or we're getting ticked off because the business model for Lattafa is successful for the lane that they're in, while the business model for Chanel is good for what they're in as well. But understand also that that Chanel, I think if I was looking, just what we saw, they didn't make a whole lot of money from fragrances. Most of their money was made from other spaces, right? So I know I'm kind of going off a little bit and rambling a little bit, but at the end of the day, can we please let go of the clone slander? Can we please just recognize, let me put it this way. I like Ruth Chris. My wife and I, for our anniversary, we went to, where did we go? We went to Shula's here. So had a nice steak dinner, had an amazing time, got one of those smoky old fashions. My wife had her cocktail. She had a salmon meal, what have you. Spent probably about $200. Appreciate it, recognize the quality of that. But I also went over to this Mexican restaurant called Filiberto's, fast food, went through the drive-through. We got some, food from there the other day. I can't live paying for Shula's. But every now and then when I want something to eat, I can run through a drive-through at Filiberto's. Do I recognize that there's a difference in the quality? Absolutely. But Shula's is not looking at you for going to Filiberto's, and Filiberto's is not looking at you for going to Shula's. At the end of the day, you go where you wanted to go to get what you need to get, and you spend what you spend. All right. Let's jump back into the chat. Let's see where we're at. Yeah, we saw that. All right. TikTok will get the undercrowd to spend all their money on it. So will the mature man with the money. Yes. It's the worst release Chanel has done in a while. Yeah. It's not groundbreaking for me. The Bleu de Chanel exclusive is not groundbreaking for me. There are some people that will enjoy it, but I'm not going to say it's the worst. But I can't say that's the best either. All right. Clearly dreaming won't be the one to wake you up. If it were an original scent, I wouldn't have a problem with it. Yeah. You're not awake then. Doing a social media marketing area. Yes. Yes, I agree, Tom. Absolutely. Are they though? I mean, yes, people are still buying it, but people are also looking for what smells like Creed Aventus. There's a reason that Club de Nuit Intense Man is still selling. Right? There's always going to be a market for those that want to don't mind paying full price. There's always a market for those that are looking for what alternatives can I get? Because here's the other thing. Let's just be honest. At the end of the day, those of us in FragCom are the only ones that really care about the different notes and different things of that nature. You could be wearing Creed Aventus and tell somebody you're wearing Umfunfu Exclusive. They wouldn't know the difference. They'd be like, okay, where can I get that? You could tell them they could go to Bumbletown, Indiana and pick it up. Will they go? Chances are no. People do not, the vast majority of people that we deal with, the vast majority of people around us, they just want to know what smells good. And they don't know Creed versus Armaf. If I tell you you can smell great for $35, chances are you're going to go find that $35 fragrance and smell great and rock it out and be good with it. Only Frag, and that's why I appreciate my guy Walt over at Fat Boy Finesse. He's got that shirt available. Only FragCom cares because we're the only ones that care. All right. Very true, Thomas. Creed. I know there are some groups that people are fiending for. I think it's the F batch of Creed Aventus, just because the new Creed doesn't last as long. And here's the thing. Part of that could be because they're like, listen, we live off of our name. We don't have to give you the same quality we gave you 10 years ago. We can give you less quality, still extract the same amount of money and extract the same price as far as the price point, and now make more profits, because most companies, again, are designed to increase profits. If they're a publicly held company, their goal is to increase, in fact, their fiduciary responsibility is to increase the share for their stakeholders, the revenue for their stakeholders. All right. YouTuber, same thing happens in whiskey market. 2025 customers will buy Buffalo Trace at $300 if it's trending. All right. Yes. Now here's the thing. I can get and I'm granted, I'm not as big of a whiskey drinker as you might be, Whiskey Reaper. But here's the thing. Bird Dog makes a great peach whiskey. I like it. I'm good. Right. I got a little left in my bottle downstairs that I may sip on this weekend. Right now, will somebody like yourself get Buffalo Trace or get something at $300? You very well might. I don't necessarily like whiskey that much. If I can get the same feeling, or let me say, I like whiskey this much. I like whiskey, but I don't like it $300 worth. I just don't. And so if I can get the same effect or similar effect, and granted, my palate towards whiskey may not be as skilled as yours, but if I can get the same experience at my level for $20 at Total Wine, we're going to do that. Joel says we shouldn't be triggered by other people. At the end of the day, it's our own opinion that matters for us. Absolutely. We should already know that some people will think and do things differently. I agree, Joel. Yep. LV lovers. If you like LV lovers, then you may want to check out. I mean, if you're open to it. Yeoman Layout has Love Again, which is a good take on lovers. All right. Love what you love, but I said I ain't changing, to each his own. And here's the thing. Joel, I know, is one that started off primarily with clones. If I understand your story correctly, Joel, started off primarily with clones, but then kind of moved into designer and niche. But you didn't abandon clones. You just expanded your palette. That's how we really want to move in this. Clone houses are taking over because of social media. Chanel knows this. That's true too. I agree with that. Yes. Chanel knows it. LV knows it. All of these brands recognize it because that's why they're cracking down on some. I was in a chat with some other people, and yeah, they got a video banned. Now, we don't know if it was the actual brand or if it was just somebody being a hater, but there was a whole thing earlier this year. If you're in Facebook groups for fragrances, you might have been in the same groups that I'm in, where, I mean, groups were getting shut down left and right because people were selling their own bottle of Bleu de Chanel, or they were selling their own bottle of a Louis Vuitton fragrance. And as they were doing that, the bottle that I purchased, if I wanted to sell it, let's say to Tom, that should be fine. But some of these groups shut that down. I mean, some of those brands shut that down because there is that recognition that things are changing, things are shifting. All right, let's see what else we got going on here. Tom says, actually, sometimes folks say things that are triggering because it gets clicks as well as what they believe. I agree with that. Absolutely. Yeah. There's a couple of fragrance YouTubers that one, I think he might be mentally unstable. Just my thoughts. Right. I think he mentally unstable and probably a little racist too. But he put out some things earlier this year, late last year, that I was just like, dude, you're playing yourself. But yeah, sometimes it is just for the effect of getting things, as far as getting the algorithm and getting people to like it, people to getting to respond, because the comments help the algorithm just as much as likes do. Okay. Trust you, Joel, to handle the business in the chat. Appreciate you, my friend. Agree. Yeah, Bleu de Chanel, adequately priced. Only enough people are naive enough to pay $300 for a fucking designer set. Here's the other thing with that. Let's talk from a business standpoint. That's a good point there. They are. Here's the thing. We also need to have the conversation about a business concept called economies of scale, right? Economies of scale basically is, depending upon what you're doing, there comes a point where the more you are producing, the greater the opportunity for profit, because you are then reducing your overall costs, right? So when we're talking about, let's say Chanel at $300 may only need to sell one bottle to make $100. Okay. Lattafa, though, might be able to sell 10 bottles to make that $100. It's just different approaches of the same thing. How do we increase profits? How do we get that? And so let's just be honest. There's a reason that you can watch videos of Afnan and Armaf rolling bottle after bottle, box after box off of the assembly line and know that it's going to get sold, right? You can look and see just the number of bottles that are flying out for, let's say, 9 p.m. or some of these other fragrances. I don't know that Chanel is selling that many bottles per day. Because when I tell you, when I went to that Macy's, it was dead. It was a Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday evening. Yeah, but it was dead. Wasn't nobody checking for fragrances on Wednesday afternoon. When I went to the Dillards, one person was in there actually, they were originally they were a woman, they were at the beauty counter checking out makeup, and then they went over to the fragrance section, right? But how often are people on, let's just be honest, how often are people online right now? How many people are online right now checking out Fragrance Buy, checking out Joma Shop, checking out all of these places? Why? Because they can get it, one, they can get it at a better price, and two, because it's a better price, they're probably buying more. I've got 5 bottles, I think, on their way of different fragrances. That'll probably be here this week, okay, end of this week. People going to buy Chanel at $300 because it's Chanel. Yes, agree. Again, brand struck. Gotta jump down. Jason Virtual, what's going on, my guy? Good to see you. Appreciate you stopping through. We are causing the problem, and I mean, it's just it's the mindset right now of get as much profit as you can. This is consumerism and commercialism and capitalism on steroids. As much as I can extract out of you, as much as I can get you to pay for it, I'm gonna get you to pay for it, right? Louis Vuitton smells great, but it's not, to me, it's not for, $350, $400 worth. It smells great. I'm not going to deny that. I'm not going to sit here and say it's trash. I'm not going to do that. But for me, I don't see myself ever jumping up to that. I may if I win the lottery, but where I'm at right now and how I approach it, I don't know that I'll jump up to it. Jump through what else? The market determines the value. If the market don't buy it, prices will drop. Absolutely. And here's the thing, Chanel makes enough money from their other lines of business that I don't know that they're really stressed about whether or not you buy 100 bottles of Chanel or buy 90 or buy 50. I don't know that, right? If you look at what I could find as far as the bit of information I could find regarding theirs, there is a lot of talk about their clothing line and their other brands or their other lines within the Chanel brand. The fragrance section and the makeup section only got a small section. Them Jordans was never under $100. I don't remember that. Them Jordans was starting off at 100, 125. Maybe I'm misremembering, but Jordans was always up there, relatively. Jumping through, I'm trying to catch up in the chat here. Gave son, he loved them, wanted to collect more challenging scents, but no hit on those blues, not re-upping though. Yeah. Yomalels dupe of Creed's cologne. The gray label is whooping the OG Creed cologne. Gray label, your opinion? Struggle pretty much the same scent profile as the original. Yeah. Love Again bottle. Yes. That's probably going to end up being a full bottle for me. I agree. Yeah, Joel, you're not still buying clones, but not at the same rate you used to. Like you say, it smells good. We get it. Yeah. Again, smell how you want to smell. It doesn't cost a whole lot to smell good, but yes, as your nose develops, as your palate changes, you recognize the value sometimes, or you recognize, yes, the differences. I recognize the quality that goes into, let's say, Desert Rain, Michael over at Day 3. I recognize the quality of what he's done. Great scent. I recognize that. Okay. I can tell, yes, there's a difference in the quality of what he did with it. Absolutely. But that doesn't mean that I'm always going to live there. Sometimes, yes, by the time it gets on my skin, by the time it pops off of my skin, off my clothing, it still smells good. May not be, yes, as initial high quality as that, that opening or what have you, but I smell good. All right. Yeah, bought some Creed Absolute Vintage samples. Fragrance performed well. Bought a bottle of it. It was a complete letdown. Anybody's experienced such? I've not actually gotten a full bottle of Creed other than my Silver Mountain water, which does okay. It does good. All right. Shock value is the thing, right? Yes. Yep. Prices are rising because clones are finally hurting their bottom lines. Also, they have some other dings by their business practices. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, clones, there's a lot of conversation about clones. And if I'm honest, and those of you that have been rocking with me for a while or have heard me talk about, clones are what kind of got me into this space. I've only been part of fragrance community for probably about 1.5 years, 2 years now. I was that guy I would get a bottle here, a bottle there. I always had at least a bottle, right? But I never had more than 2, maybe 3 at a time. And I think I had gone through a period where I was, checking out stuff through Scentbird. And then I was on TikTok and it was in that season where, what was the 3? Assad, Kamra, and 9 p.m. were like being hyped crazily, right? And I was like, and I got a TikTok coupon. I was like, let me check it out. And for me, I was like, okay, again, granted, my uninitiated nose, I've spent more time, yes, smelling stuff and putting my nose on different things and and learning different accords and stuff like that. But at the time, I'm sitting there like, this is phenomenal. And I spent how much? And so I went on a tear through clones. And so when people are recognizing that, yeah, there's stuff out there too many and uninitiated knows, it's putting a dent. If I can get 5 bottles for the price I would pay for exclusive, chances are you're gonna get them 5 bottles. Thomas Hacks, what's my favorite scent from the House of Dua? I haven't actually gotten into Dua yet. I haven't checked out Dua yet. I hear good and bad. I hear that there's some really great ones, but I also hear there's some ones that you need to be concerned about. So I haven't gotten into Dua yet. All right. When I don't really smell people who wear fragrances. That's another thing, right? I know at my job, there is myself and one other person who wears fragrances. One other person has come along and he just joined the company not too long ago. And he's asked me, just because I'm now the fragrance guru at my job, but I don't smell a lot of people wearing fragrances out, right? I have my circle of friends that are in this area that we talk about it. I've got one of my brothers, he's been my guy for like the past 25 years now. He's getting fragrances, and I turned him on to Yom and some other things, and he's digging that. But yeah, we have to recognize that fragrance community is actually a small segment of the population. All right. I've had the Eagle Has Landed Altair for a while. It's strong and beautiful. No one talks about it. Okay. Let's see what else we got going here. All of this is also happening in the art market. I love scent because it sparks some good memories, better than anything else I know of. They also just make me feel good. That's what fragrances are supposed to be, right? How you feel about it. That's why this is all subjective. How I appreciate a clone, there's some stuff that you may appreciate, you may love, and I'm like, that's okay. Likewise, there's some stuff I may love, and you're like, okay. I tell the story. In fact, it was, oh goodness, I just had it on the tip of my tongue. There was a fragrance and I appreciate Dedrick. Dedrick is a brother. I appreciate him. But there was a fragrance that he and Ross were talking about it. In fact, let me look it up, because I smelled it and I was like, I can't get it. It was very much an oud bomb, if you will, right? Let me pull it up and see if I can find which one it was. Kaput Munde. Dedrick and Ross were on a live or did a video. They were talking about Kaput Munde from Tiziana Terenzi. I got a sample of it, which is again why you buy samples of Decants. Because if I had spent money on it, I'd have been really hot. For me, I didn't appreciate it. I didn't necessarily like it. I can tell some of the beauty of it, but it just wasn't a fragrance for me. That doesn't mean Dedrick's nose is off. It just means he likes that scent. I don't. There's lots of stuff that I like that you may not like. It's all good. Sleeper for me that no one mentions is Essence de Blanc by French Avenue. It's their take on LV's Imagination. 5 out of 5 stars I'd give it. I keep wanting to check that one out. But if I'm honest, I think I've got enough LV Imaginations. I probably need to declutter some of mine, just because I got 3 or 4, I think, of them. All right. I can appreciate a Chris Collins, Argos, Yom and Love, because they're doing amazing work on a smaller scale. Yes. And in fact, I've got 2 bottles of Chris Collins back there. I'm really want to tap into more from that house. I know I plan on, during February, which is Black History Month, I plan on really doing a lot of content around some of the black-owned brands, black brands that are out there as far as fragrance. And Chris Collins is definitely one I want to tap into even more. All right. Blaine, you're all good. Appreciate you coming through, my guy. Mancera Tonka Cola. Now, there's another one. Now, I appreciate, Blaine, you're wearing Mancera Tonka Cola. For me, I'm not a fan of it. But that doesn't mean Blaine doesn't know what he's talking about. Doesn't mean that Blaine is smelling bad. That's what he enjoys. It's just not my scent profile. and it's all good. Tom Rogers, there's no doubt the clones are hurting the bottom lines. Yep, absolutely. Grand Rise, you can see your taste and sense. Fragrances are a lower cost mental health mood cure than seeing someone. Facts. Yep. Now, the problem is, don't be sitting around your house. Don't be doing that. All right. That might be some more damage. All right. Good guys. Let's see. Tom said, yes, sir, I may need marital counseling because my wife is counting my collection. Shh. Shh. Although my wife is in my room and she's trying to figure out what she can take. Because I got something that I was testing out for a brand, and she's like, yeah, if you get a full bottle, I want to, we sharing it. Yeah. All right. Maybe she should start spraying. Absolutely. Yomalel's take on BR 540 is pretty impressive. Not going to lie. Yeah. Yomalel has got some good stuff. Some good stuff. All right. Let's see where we at. Let's see, move down. You're in a mixed marriage. That's funny. Exactly, man. We're not going to agree on everything, nor should we. Everyone has different scent profiles. Everyone has different tastes. Everyone has different skin, chemistry, all that fun stuff. Yeah. All right. Create Cologne layered with 540 is a B signature scent for me. What is it that does that? Now, 9 p.m. 9 p.m. Rebel and the black bottle from Lattafa. I know it's right on the tip of my tongue. Y'all know which one I'm talking about. There's a black bottle and a white bottle. They do that scent profile pretty good as well. Trying to get his hands on Praise the Lord by Charles Garwood. Heard it was fire, but can't get my hands on it in the States. I'm gonna have to look for that. If that's fire, I want to hear. Legend Cologne and Amber Voyage by Yomalel Layered does the job as well. Good job. Chat Jock, good to see you, my friend. Hope you're enjoying the day 3 fragrances discovery set that we sent your way. Appreciate you coming through. Carlton, good to see you, my friend. Fragrance collection just top 200. Wife sprays each morning before work like it's going out of style. In other words, it's her collection too. Yeah. I've hooked my wife up. My wife her collection has grown. I've hooked her up with some stuff, and she's now at the point where she's like, because she works from home, so for her, she doesn't necessarily need a lot of fragrances because she's in the house most of the time. And then when we do go out, she's got her fragrances. Her big concern, and this is another good thing, her big concern is because we do ministry, she wants to make sure that the fragrance is going to have some staying power. Like if she's preaching, if she's teaching, if she's up there doing what she does, she wants to make sure that when she gets off the stage that she still smells good. So she's got a few. She'll talk about those that resurrect, those that come back strong. She's got a few, and guess what? They're good clone brands too, right? Like for her, some of the Club de Nuits, she loves those because those will stick around after her preaching and teaching. I couldn't say the same for some of the designer brands, right? Frequency asks, how hard is it to start one's own label? Listen, I'm thinking about some of those things. I was talking to Nizar. So if you're interested, follow and get connected on Instagram with Nizar Fragrances with Terrence. Terrence and I were talking, and he's like, listen, if somebody wants to get started, he can help them get started, or he can kind of point you in the direction of where you might need to go. But in this economy and in this age, I don't think it's as hard as people make it out to be, right? Let's just, because I see you, Chat Jock, day 3 is banging. I want to get your nose on Desert Rain. Yeah, here's the thing that I love about day 3. And if you know day 3 story, so day 3, as far as Michael Paul is, Right now, he's not too far from where I live. He's in the Phoenix area. And so I've actually had a chance to talk with him, speak with him, and hear him, right? Hear his story. So Michael Paul basically was in the area getting ready to start a church. He was in ministry. He was looking to start a church, and then the pandemic hit. And the pandemic was like it for churches. I can just tell you as a pastor, when the pandemic hit, it shifted a lot of things within church, right? Just like it shifted a lot of things all across. And so for him trying to start a church, what happened was he was like, this isn't necessarily going to work. And so he was praying and he was trying to figure out what to do. And he began to pivot, and he felt led to start a fragrance brand. Right now, he didn't start off with a major budget. He didn't start off. He was doing stuff. And look where he is now. So as far as the question of how much does it take, it's probably relative. I see some folks that have started brands, and I was watching someone else. They do limited releases, or they'll do like every quarter they'll release some stuff, and then they'll go silent for a little while, and then they'll release some more stuff the next quarter. So it's a matter of finding out what works for you, and then finding out kind of how to get that going. But yeah, I don't think that we're in a space or in an age where it's there's a huge barrier to starting your own label. All right. Got Desert Rain and Trace Orals coming next week. Yes, and Desert Rain, I think you'll enjoy that. And Trace Orals is fire. And I'm telling you, listen, we here. If you are a fan of Day 3, have some money set aside, because when he drops what he's going to drop, I think he said like November. Now, if you do not like ouds whatsoever, okay, if you're just looking for a fresh fragrance, ignore this. But if you like a fragrance that has some depth to it, and it's not a dank oud, it's not a stank oud, it's a nice sweet oud, and some other things that he's got going with it. Yeah, yes, you want to be ready for that. Because also, just from hearing him talk, he's not sure that he's going to be able to have that as a permanent release. It may be a limited release. You heard it here. I'm trying to get you ready, because y'all are here. We here. You're part of the SmellGoodz squad. You get that. All right. Love the clone game. Hunt for deal on frags. If I can get a beast for a break, I'm winning the game. Absolutely. Listen. When like I told y'all, when my wife is getting her hair done, because it's a good 2, 3, sometimes 4 hours, I'm hitting up the Dillards, I'm hitting up the Macy's. If I can swing up to Scottsdale and hit the Saks and the Nordstroms, what have you, I'll do that. But I'll also pop over to the Burlington. I'll pop over to the TJ Maxx. I'll pop over to the Ross. I'll pop over to the Marshalls. Because sometimes you can get a steal there too. Simply put. All right. So yeah, Nazar. So I'm not sure if you were here when I had my 5,000 celebration, 5,000 subscriber celebration, but Terrence did mention, because there was some question as far as whether Nazar was going to keep going, because he had put something out on Instagram that said he was, shutting things down. He's talking more about the physical location in the Crabtree Mall that he's in North Carolina. He's continuing online. In fact, he's supposed to be sending me some more stuff. And so I'll have some other things to kind of talk about and show you that I'm checking out and seeing what I like. You're going to see, because we're starting to move into fall, at least some of us are. I still got probably another 2 to 3 months of summer here in Phoenix. But we'll probably have a review coming soon of Mango Tobacco, full-on review from Nazar. Definitely something that, as we get into those cooler months, is going to be worked into my rotation. So Nazar is doing well. They're still rocking well. All right. Frequency gaming, medium hard for planning a decision. Money, real hard. That's what I think. Yeah. I mean, and listen, so I told y'all I'm digging AI. I have a thought as far as what I want to do if I ever do a fragrance brand, whether it's a collaboration with a perfumer, or if I launch out and really just start moving in this space from just being a content creator to being a producer of fragrances, right? And so I have an idea of kind of what my lane or what my angle would be as far as fragrances, as far as how I would kind of craft my collection. And so I was like, let me ask ChatGPT if I wanted to do this type of a scent profile, or based upon this, what would that look like? And it gave me some stuff that it's like, it sounds interesting. I'd have to really see how it plays together, but it sounded interesting. So we're in an age right now where things are getting a lot easier, a lot less barriers to doing a variety of things. Okay. Interested in making sense for yourself and watching some YouTube vids on creating sense. By the way, Neve is killing the game with French Avenue. Yeah, he's got a good collaboration going there. I think at one point he was originally with or did something with Sphinx. Some good stuff there. But yeah, he's killing it over there with French Avenue. Would I love to be in that space or be in that type of a level? Absolutely. Will I ever get there? Who knows? But at the end of the day, you know, kudos to him. Kudos to those that are doing it. I know Ross has his connection, for example, with Zaharoff. What's his name over at GenSense? Ashton had his with Michael Malal. So yeah, I mean, it's something that even that barrier now is being reduced, because you could learn how to do it yourself and just put your own brand out and still do content creation or what have you. All right. Chat Jock says, I'm in the ministry as well. Yeoman Leo's fragrances last through all the sweat, preaching and teaching, last more than 10 hours of sillage. Absolutely. I preached with I forgot what it is. It's the one that is the take on Blue Sapphire. Is it Nazim or something like that? From Yeoman Leo. It's their take on Boadicea the Victorious Blue Sapphire. That joker was still pumping out after I preached. And I'm a big guy, so I'm going to sweat, right? I don't wear shirts like this as far as this color when I preach or teach, because by the end of it, I'm soaked through. And so I typically operate with a black shirt. That way it doesn't come off, but that stuff was still pumping out. We, you know, I did change my shirt. We went to dinner or went to lunch with the pastor that I was preaching for, and it was still pumping off of skin. Yep. Day 3 fan and an oud fanatic. Yes, I'm gonna tell you right now. Yes, get your stuff together. As soon as it's announced. All right. I also use fragrances for spiritual practices. I have this Heavenly 3 perfume fragrances layer that the Lord revealed to me. I'm talking heavenly realms. Okay. Kenya says, I'm interested in, or Tom says, interested in incense, candles, and colognes. My classmate retired from the Navy and is now making soaps, butter, body butters, and stuff. Listen, we're in an age right now where you can start a business and you know, the thing I think that really kind of is a barrier to people, and this is just mindset. The thing that I think is a barrier to a lot of people is they think that success has to look like millions of dollars, or success has to look like national, international. Listen, if I make a brand, if I just say make a body butter, right? Because that's something I also thought about was body butters and beard stuff. And I may get more into beard stuff as well too. But if I have a nice enough following and that stuff helps to pay for my mortgage and help to pay and at least get me off of my full-time job and I'm comfortable, I'm good. You may never hear my brand outside of the Phoenix metro area, but if I got a good enough following in Phoenix metro, cool. All right. Absolutely, frequency. We're here. We're definitely around. Work with your mind, relax with your hands, and vice versa. Yes, sir. Similar testimony with Rozzy. Listen, Rozzy is my Yeoman Leo. I love Jadoo, and Rozzy does a great job for me as far as scratching that itch of mind games of Jadoo. All right. Let's jump in. I know I think I gave my rant, and I think I made some sense. Hopefully I made sense. In my mind, I made sense. All right, let's get a few fragrances that I still have from what I got from Lone Star Decants, because I'll pay for Decants. Now I'll blind buy stuff. I'll blind buy a clone. I'll blind buy based off of people whose nose I trust, like this Gingembre that again, shout out to Joel and Dedrick. This right here, niche quality, good smell, but it didn't break the bank. I can blind buy that, right? I'm not blind buying a Bleu de Chanel exclusive just because it's Bleu de Chanel. Not doing that. All right. Let's got a few here that we're gonna put our nose on. See what we got here. Pull up some of these stuff. We can kind of work through them. And I know my nose is fried as far as really picking out notes because I've been working on stuff all day. But let's, again, shout out to day 3. Last time I was there in the boutique, they gave me a book of tester strips, so we'll use these. It's not sacrilegious. I hope not to use them on just day 3 stuff. But let's pull this out. First one we have up is from Zaharoff. We have Evening Mystique. A little spicy there. Warm. Not bad. Not bad. Notes on this are carrot seeds, coriander, angelica, incense, iris, cypress, juniper berries, rose, incense, base notes of incense, vetiver, myrrh, patchouli, cedar, musk, and ambergris. Yeah, this is, Zaharoff does some good stuff. I think this is the 3rd thing I've smelled from Zaharoff. Now they have one, I want to say a signature Aurum or something like that, that has a very animalic honey, like straight out the honeycomb honey. That first time I smelled it, I was like, eh. After a 2nd or 3rd smell of it, I get it. This right here, you do get some spice, some woodiness. Yeah, it's not bad. Not bad from them. Get that on there. Yeah, Aurum. Yeah, the boogie. Aurum, not the signature, but Aurum itself. I think I've got that in a box somewhere. Aurum itself is nice. Okay. Aurum itself is a nice fragrance. There we go. Next one up, we're going to take a look at is, this is BDK's Rouge Smoking. Nice vanilla. A little fruitiness, but the vanilla's there too. This might be amazing on my wife, but I could rock this too. Definitely for the winter. Rouge Smoking, cherry, pink pepper, bergamot, vanilla husk, heliotrope, orange blossom, tonka, cashmere wood, white musk, ambroxan violet, and labdanum. Yeah. That right there. Yeah. Not bad. Not bad. And I think that I haven't checked out Ross's lives and feed for a while. But I remember seeing that Zaharoff's going to be releasing some collabs soon. One of those with Ross. I don't know who the others are supposed to be. But definitely interested to check that out, see what they're working with as far as those collabs and who he's got. All right. Let's jump. I think this will be the last one tonight. This one is Seraphim Blue, and this is Zaharoff as well. Let me get this out here. Okay. That lavender hits me nicely. This is nice. I want to say I'm picking up. I don't know. This is nice. Seraphim Blue is nice. This might be. I want to spend some more time with that one. That's a nice one. I see you, Blaine. Yeah, the eucalyptus. Okay. Notes on that. Lavender, rosemary, apple, eucalyptus. Okay. Marine notes, coconut, iris, orange blossom, Lugane, cypress, immortelle, frankincense, amber, and musk. I might have to spend a little more time with this one. I like this. I like that. Yeah. Yeah. Let's jump back in real quick. Frequency, have you smelled Georgioff Grove? I have not smelled that one yet. But according to Whiskey, I don't know if he's still in the chat, but according to Whiskey, we should just go ahead and buy it and not go anywhere to smell it. Okay. The Boogie, I just drove into Zaharoff last month and I'm hooked. Yeah, I mean, there's only, like I said, that Aurum signature is just a little, I get it. It's just not, it's a little too animalic in the honey for me as far as the opening. But other things that I've smelled from Zaharoff are on point. They're good. They're good. Check out Fulton and Rourke, an American niche fragrance brand similar to Day 3. If you purchase a Discovery set, you'll receive a coupon for the cost of the set toward a full bottle. Just saying. Okay, good to know. Good to know. I may check them out. I think my next Discovery set that I'm purchasing is actually going to be Zernel Gilly. I want to check that one out. I keep hearing a lot of buzz or seeing a lot of buzz. I want to check out Zernel Gilly. If you checked out Zernel Gilly, let me know. But I keep hearing a lot of good things about that one. So that'll probably be my next Discovery set that I check out. All right. But it's good to know and keep in the back of my mind for Fulton and Rourke. Don't have Aurum yet on the short list of Zaharoff's to get perfect. Yep. Yes, I'm feeling that Seraphim Blue. I'm feeling it. Got to add to the collection. Gets even better with time. Yes, sir. Like the blue, you'll like the red. Anyone smelled Yom and Leonore? My wife loves that one. Let's just say I got my wife the 30 ml. She wants the 100 ml. And she's not even halfway through the 30 ml. So Yom and Leonore, which is their take on Leonora, which I think leans feminine, but it's not overly feminine. Yom and Leonore is good. It's good. R&B seems interesting. That's the one I keep hearing about. That's the one I definitely keep hearing and seeing a lot of lot of conversation about. So that's I may have to do that. I may have to put that order in sooner than later. Yeah. R&B, jazz, and hip hop, and R&B, jazz, and hip hop are amazing. R&B is up for your frag of the year so far. Okay. I'm gonna have to put that to the test, because if we're talking, and if we're talking about independent niche, right? We're talking about your smaller niche houses. Right now, for me, and again, I haven't smelled everything that's an independent niche out there, but for me, Trace Orals is a banger, right? Desert Rain is a nice, solid, masculine one from day 3. But I do want to check out, like I said, I do want to check out Zernell Gilly. I'm hearing good things. Plus, I'm correct if I'm understanding, he's a Chicago boy, so I'm gonna support that too. All right. I think that's it, y'all. I think I ranted enough as far as my being triggered a little earlier. I think that's enough. Let me just make sure I didn't miss anything. Yeah. So yeah, be on the lookout. I've got a review or a first impression of the new Creed coming out. Oud Zarian. Spoiler alert, it's nice. It's nice. Definitely right for the season we're about to enter into. If you haven't already, also check out Fat Boy Finesse tagged a few of us, and so I did my top clones NBA edition video. That's out there. If you've not checked it out, definitely check it out. And we might have to have a conversation, because in that video, I know I ticked some people off with my, I don't want to say slander, because it's not slander, with my facts concerning LeBron James and him not being the GOAT. Some people were put off by it. That might be another conversation that we have in another video. The llama. Yes, you are absolutely right. He is the llama. Now, you'll have to watch the video. If you've not watched the video, you have to watch the video to know what the llama means as it relates to LeBron James. But he is definitively the llama. He's not the GOAT. He's definitely not the Black Mamba. He is the llama. Some people need an explanation. Some people need that. Some people look at and they have blinders on and say, well, he's done this, that, and the other. But look at the whole story. Look at the full picture. He ain't the GOAT. Nope. In fact, I say it this way. He keeps finding reasons to excuse himself from the GOAT conversation. He keeps giving us reasons to say, oh yeah, you're not the GOAT. Every now and then he does something that's like, oh, he could. No, you're right. You're not. He keeps telling us definitively that he's not the GOAT. JR, appreciate you stopping through, my friend. Everyone have a good night. Yes, days of the stream available. So I try and make sure, I've gotten into the habit now. Typically every Tuesday night is when I'm going to go live. I may start to diversify as far as adding additional times, just to maybe pop on a little bit if there's something I want to talk about. But my goal is every Tuesday night is going to be my night that we do decant samples and fragrance talk. So appreciate you stopping through. Appreciate you hanging out. But yeah, Tuesdays, I'm trying to get better and more consistent about videos. I'm trying to get to the point where I'm putting out videos at least Monday through Friday. Sometimes I don't make it through, one day of the week, so I may put it out on Saturday. But I try and get videos out at least Monday through Friday. At most, I'm trying to get up to 6 days a week. All right. Scapegoat, maybe. Yeah. All right. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all hanging out with me we got up to what, an hour and 15, hour and 20 minutes. So definitely appreciate y'all hanging out with me for a little bit, listening to my rant as far as me being triggered. But listen, stay safe, stay sane, stay smelling good, and smell the way you want to smell. It doesn't take a whole lot to smell good, but if you want to spend some money on it, make sure it's something that you want to smell like and you smelling good. All right. Appreciate y'all for coming through. Y'all have a good rest of your evening. All right. Peace.